is cheapest. But while I'm anti-capitalist, I also believe in relieving poverty, inequality, suffering as quickly as possible. So basically, I'm willing to form really broad coalitions with people who have different ideological perspectives. And I also know that this is what Occupy Wall Street is doing. This is what the Occupy movement is doing. And honestly, the best strategy for building broad-based coalition is to be open and flexible and not be rigid about your ideological stance, but be willing to learn, like let people express themselves, be willing to listen, not to go around saying, well, they're anti-capitalist and they just don't know it yet. So anyway, that's my take on that. I do think that Occupy Wall Street is different from most anti-capitalist movements before it, because in the US, most of the movements in recent decades have been primarily based on shared ideas. And while the Occupy Wall Street working groups are these amazing idea-generating machines, what is bringing so many people together and getting them out in the streets in Burlington, Vermont, and just all over the US and different places in the world is really shared pain, fear, and need. And when you look at the We Are the 99% Tumblr site and the signs people carry at Liberty Square and on the marches, you see that people feel like really, really stuck, really trapped, okay, and they're in massive debt, and they have no job in sight and no way out. And this is what makes it a little like the Vietnam era protest where you're being drafted and the body bags are coming home. I mean, there's this, and I also want to thank Jack Rabbit for his comment about voice, essentially. Also, like, one thing that really resonated with what Al Gore said about it being a primal scream of democracy. So the fact that Occupy Wall Street is a grab bag of issues and ideas does not bother me in the least, because the pressure for demands is a tactic to divide the movement and make everyone get out of the parks and the streets and go home. That's how I see it. It needs to form broad coalitions and spread as widely as possible right now. So I agree with other people's comments that, well, I'll put a caveat on this in a second. But I also, to quote Charles Eisenstein, wrote a really eloquent piece called "No Demand is Big Enough."